welcome again. My name is Rosalia. This is commentaries on the book Keys to the Ultimate Freedom by Lester Levenson. And we're going to continue. The first video we did was on the foreword of the book. And now there's a portion that follows that which says about the author. To be honest, you guys could read a little bit more about that because I want to focus on different quotes and different specific things that I want to share with you that hopefully will bring value to you on your path of self-realization, right? That's really my goal, to inspire you, to provide value, to help you remember and embody and experience, more than anything, self-realization, because that leads to freedom. Okay, so I want to read a little something here in that section, which is on the about the author section. It says here, I began by asking myself, what do I want out of life? And the answer was happiness. Investigating further, I went into the moment I was feeling happiest. I discovered something which to me was startling at the time. It was when I was loving that I was the happiest. The happiest equated to my capacity to love rather than to being loved. So let that sink in for a moment. My capacity to love rather than to being loved. Imagine that for a second, right? How many times have we felt betrayed, not good enough, etc., down the rabbit hole, because we don't feel that the love that we're giving is reciprocal, or we feel betrayed, or we feel whatever, right? Or we have higher expectations of how the other person should be, how the other person should be showing love to us, how we should feel valuable, right? And loved and valued, right? Which is that external validation, right? That initially most of us seek at some point from childhood, to be honest, right? You want the approval and the love and the safety of your parents, of your loved ones, right? So my capacity to love rather than to being loved. So then you take ownership of your happiness. You reclaim your sovereignty in regards to love, right? And it says, it was at that was the starting point. I began correcting all my thoughts and feelings in that direction, from that of wanting to be loved, listen to that of loving, right? The verb, be love, right? Which is really no other than being what we truly are, right? And then it says here, in realizing how much I wanted to change things in this world, how many of us don't want to change ourselves, others, and the world, right? It says, I saw how it made me a slave of this world. I made the decision to reverse that, right? So it says here, and in the process of following out these two directions, actually unloading all the subconscious concepts and pressures in those directions, I discovered I was getting happier, freer, lighter, and feeling better in general, right? It says here, on the things that happen in this process was identification with others. I saw that we are all related. We're all interconnected. Each mind is like a radio broadcasting and receiving station, that we're all tuned into each other unconsciously, that we are just not aware of it, as a lot of the suppressed energies are allowed out. This becomes obvious to us, and once we identify with everyone else, it is just natural that we want everyone else to discover what we have discovered, that life was meant to be beautiful, meant to be happy all the time with no sorrow, and to be with perfect health. And so after reaching that point of understanding in 1952, I have wanted to help others to discover what I have discovered. Hale Dawson, Director of Training, the Sedona Institute. And there's a quote here by Lester: if we could only be, just be, we could see our infinity. We could see that we are the all, right? And then that finishes up about the author section. Now, we are the all. We come back again to the same principle. I am that I am. Thou art that. We are one. We are the all. But I can see how in modern spirituality, or this light love community or environment, or new age type of thing, when it's explained from the perspective of I am God, it is very much misinterpreted into the ego, or this fractal, this likeness of God, this part of God, this co-creation of God, as being like the ultimate God, in a sense of an ego-based perception of God. Because when you truly integrate or transcend the ego, I mean, it's always going to be there. It's the spiritual ego is also a little complicated, but there is a point where you understand your unity between creator and creation, kind of like an infinity symbol, right? It's like that chi, that prana, the life force, the Tao. It's referred to in infinite amounts of text, right? The Tao, that life force, that God likeness, that energy that keeps our heart beating, that helps us breathe, that all of our organs, our cells function, right? That God aspect of us lives within each form, right? Animals, plant kingdom, mineral kingdom, all the kingdoms, right? So it's not exclusively to this fractal of God, right? So when you have this interconnectedness really integrated, and you have worked through this enough, and you have done a lot of like integration in regards to experiencing your wholeness, your fullness, not only do you begin to be more of your authentic self, but you serve everyone else as you would serve yourself, because you start to see no separation, right? You begin to embody more qualities in the likeness of God, right? More compassion, more love, more forgiveness, more of everything, right? So you begin to alchemize, a lot of the anger, fear, doubt, procrastination, lust, all these quote unquote sins, right? You begin to let the light of God, the Christ consciousness, the Sophia consciousness, to transform you deeply from the inside out. It's this final surrendering to God, right? So you finally surrender to God, right? And you allow God to direct you, to lead you, to fill your mind with the divine light. Divine grace comes upon you. And you have a different set of clarity, of purpose, of alignment, of discernment, of joy, of freedom, and it's this peace beyond all understanding, right? Fear dissipates at a bare minimum, as much as you can have, because our brain, and I'm not going to get into the brain and stuff, but you have a nervous system. You know, if there's something that comes up that you feel you're in danger, you're going to be in fight or flight, right? Or different modes that you can go on. So that's but it's a different, it's honestly something you must experience yourself to really, really understand, right? A lot of the teachings is like when you allow and you let the Holy Spirit come in, right? And in different cultures and different religions and in different practices, of course, is understood or practiced a little bit different. But to be honest, I've been through many, many different religions when I was looking for God outside of me. And when I was forming a relationship external to myself. And to be honest, I found God everywhere, in every religion. Everyone is doing the best that they can with their devotion, with their love, with their prayers, with trying to be a better human being, trying to be kinder to one another. I feel like there's a lot more similarities rather than differences. You hear a lot of the time of doing unto your neighbor as you would unto yourself, right? And there's a lot of that kind of love and compassion and helping another human being and being of service. So with all of this, I feel like I've done enough commentary here, and maybe I've gotten a bit of track. But hopefully these little reminders will serve you on your own path of self-realization. This is definitely a book I highly recommend, Keys to the Ultimate Freedom by Lester Levenson. Thank you, and see you on the next commentary.